Hello there. What is going on, everyone? We are back with another Star Wars Armada unboxing. I bet you never thought you'd see another Star Wars Armada unboxing on this channel. Well, you may have been incorrect, because we are going to be unboxing the Summa of All Things event pack. We'll be taking a look at this pack here on the channel. If you guys do like Star Wars Armada or Star Wars gamings in general, you're in the right place. We do plenty of Armada videos. I just did a full list of all of the ship breakdowns for Star Wars Armada. We're going to be doing more. We're going to be getting into squadrons this year. We're going to be doing more, battle reports and squad building videos and things like that. So plenty more Armada content on the way. Of course, as news comes out, maybe another rapid reinforcements or another organized play kit, we'll be talking about those as well. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and unbox this. Also, if you guys wouldn't mind, go ahead and like the video, share the video, subscribe, thumbs up, click that bell for alerts if you want to get notified when new content comes out. I'm typically doing content just about every weekday. I did kind of start taking weekends off a little bit because I need a little bit of time, to kind of recover. But here is the back of the box, and we can. This is basically enough for an 8-player organized play event. Now, if you want to see like a tournament using this in action, we actually some of the local folks over at Brace for Impact they sponsored a Summa of All Things event. So we did get an event running on the channel. So that's about it. We've got cardboard, we've got some inserts, we've got some promos, Intensify Firepower, and we've got lots of rules reference cards in here too. So we're going to get all of this opened up, and we'll look at it more in detail, and I'll talk to you a little bit about how this plays. All right, so we've got everything unboxed, and there are options to run this in both English and in German. So there are there's an English kind of reference guide, or kind of an introduction, like a rules guide, also a German version as well. I'm going to focus on the English components today. However, there is only one actual set of cardboard, well, 8, I should say. There's enough to support 8 players. There's only 8 sets of cardboard. So while there's like doubles of everything else, there's only onesies of these, so you're not going to end up with 16 players worth of stuff. But still 8 players per kit. Now, and of course you can reuse these too. So it talks about the event structure, player responsibilities. Of course, this is a kit that was basically designed to host a one-day event where everybody who attends gets to take some stuff home with them and play a smaller 200-point game of Star Wars Armada with a unique rule set and very different tactics that go along with it. And so we have basically just some here's the credits as well, and of course we also have our buddy Derek Schultz there in the credits as well, who he helped work on this one quite a bit, which was pretty cool. And you may know him as Karnak, as well as he has the Star Wars SWAE, formerly Star Wars Armada Explained, but now just Sway channel. And of course, he talks a lot about Star Wars Armada as well. So we've got that. Basically, the rules, what you are going to need to know, are going to be on 3 of these cards. Now, you're going to get these 3 different cards, per kind of table area. Now, these are pretty interesting because they're all double-sided, and so they're numbered 1, 2, and so on and so forth. I want to take a closer look at these. Let me zoom in so you can read them a little easier. All right, so the first I guess card is just going to talk about fleet building. You have a 200-point. You can't use large ships. You can only have 1 medium, no commanders as well, and you got to have squadrons. But you can only have 2 unique squadrons, which would fit into the, you can use, it's slight change on the rules, because normally you could have only 2 unique squadrons, but you could have more than that if they didn't have defense tokens. But in this one, you can only have 2 unique squadrons. You're capped at 67 points worth, and you can only have 1 flotilla, only 1 medium ship, no large or huge ships. Of course, you wouldn't really be able to fit that in 200 points anyway. This is going to play on a 3x3 area. Okay, we flip this one over. It's going to talk about the setup, the objectives, and of course we're going to look at the cardboard here. Well, you know, I'll look at that here in a moment, because you're going to have a couple of different things. First off, you have the Summa Verminoth, and it's going to come out. It's going to look like this, and it does have the movement notches in here, and that's going to allow it to move with the normal movement tool. The cool thing about this too is after it moves, like if it were to, you know, if it can move backwards as well, and if it's going to do that, then you like flip it over, and it goes that way. So the tail is always behind it when it's moving, which is kind of cool. I like that. That was a very clever aspect of this. But then you also have hyperfuel containers. You've got 5 of these, and these are going to be going on the board, and these of course are worth victory points. Your ships can claim these, but also so can your squadrons. That's one of the reasons why you're limited to only 2 unique squadrons. And it became very apparent to me when playing this that you had to have unique squadrons if you were trying to win. It was almost a must. And then, of course, you have a control token. I believe this is what lets you, kind of indicates who currently has control of the Summa Verminoth. And there's pros and cons to having that. So this is going to talk a little bit about choosing objective. You're not going to be choosing objective. Of course, this will be your objective. You're going to follow the placed obstacles. You're going to deploy ships, and it has some end around stuff. You're going to remove the control token from the play area, and then if he ends in a player's deployment zone, the game ends in a loss for that player. And the idea is it has to be within, not at, right? So if you get this guy to your opponent's deployment zone, you win the game. So there's a couple, and there's multiple different ways to win. And that's really the interesting thing here is you've got 5 of these, so you can win by having the majority of the hyperfuel. All right, 3-2, you can easily win that way. You can also win by tabling your opponent. If you're able to just, you know, blow up their ships, you know, you can certainly win that way. Or you can also win by getting this guy into your opponent's deployment zone. And that was something that really changed the game for me, because everything else, all the normal rules, normally, you know, it's either objective points or table your opponent, you know, one or the two. And you try to do a little bit of both and see whichever one works out better. But this added a whole curveball, and it's like, oh, or I can just try to outright, well, you could have all of the hyperfuel, and you could have all my fleet destroyed except for one ship, but I take that ship and I kind of walk this guy into the end zone and I win, you know? So that is really bizarre. But there's other things that are happening too. So let me get the rest of these. We've got card number 3 here. There are, you know, there's some special rules. Second player is going to gain nav tokens. Coaxium canisters cannot be moved by strategic. You have coaxium recovery. They can, of course, when a ship or a squadron activates, they can get one of the tokens. And you know, you're going to put all these tokens kind of in the middle. I'm going to put a link to our tournament report where we kind of played through this, and I had no idea what I was getting into, and I brought like a list designed to kill enemy ships, and it was a little wild. I'll say that much. It was a little wild. But you can have multiple coaxiums on you. Also, you're going to be rolling for a Maelstrom effect, because this is meant to take place in like the solo Star Wars story Kessel Run Maelstrom area. So you're going to roll a die. You're going to roll a blue die, and then it's funny. They say roll a blue die, and it has like blank on here. I'm like, well, there are no blanks on a blue die. So I think if you roll a blue die and you get a blank, there should be some new Maelstrom effect that says, arrest your opponent for cheating, because there shouldn't be any blanks on a blue die. But yeah, so if you get a hit, it's no effect. If you get a crit, it does this electrical anomaly, which is crazy. Each ship in the play area loses 2 shields unless it discards a command token, and you reduce the speed of squadrons by 2. Squadrons can also help influence and move the Summa Verminoth. It's not just how many ships and command point values are there. Every 2 squadrons adds another command point. And if you get an accuracy, it's a debris storm makes all attacks obstructed, and it includes squadrons, which is very interesting. There's a really cool optional rule in here that I think some people missed when they played. It's before placing obstacles, the second player can place a gravity rift obstacle in the center of the setup area, and then places the Summa Verminoth obstacle in the center of the Gravity Rift. The Gravity Rift obstacle cannot be moved by card effects. So this is optional. And I think we were saying that the second player would have the choice. It gives a little more agency to the second player because the nav token is nice, but it doesn't really matter. And so first player has such a big advantage that the second player having the option to put the Gravity Rift there or not gives them a little bit more, I think, control and agency over how the game is going to unfold. And kind of helps combat maybe a little bit of the first player's advantages, because the first player rushes in there to try to get close to the Verminoth. They're also going to have to deal with that Gravity Rift as well. So I kind of like having the Gravity Rift in there, or at least having the choice. If I'm second player and my opponent's got slow ships, then maybe that's going to influence me as well. And so they talk about the Summa Verminoth here, and of course him bumping and all of that. And that's 4, 3, and 4, and then we also have 5 and 6. The control token. This talks about how you control. Basically, the player with the most control points takes control of the token. You can do squadrons are gonna every 2 squadrons is gonna give you 1, and every ship within distance 1 to 2 is gonna add its command value. So ships are way better, but 2 squadrons is the same as like a CR90 or a command 1 small ship. So usually, like the coolest thing to do is, or one of the more effective things to do is to get a command value 2 ship in there. And get it within range 1 to 2. The thing is, the Summa Verminoth is going to be activating at the end, after every ship is going. So it's going to be going multiple times every turn. So just because you park a ship on it doesn't mean you're going to have control the whole round, because it may move out of your sphere of influence during the turn, and I can maybe send it even back to you, before the end of that. So that, it moves as if it were a ship. It's going to have whoever has the control token will choose how it moves. It'll have a value of 1 at speed 1 and a yaw value of 0 at speed 2. So it's going to do that speed 2 move. You can move it forward or backward. All right. If you move it out of the play area, then the other player gets to kind of put it back in. So but it gets to kind of reposition it a little bit. And yes, and if no player gains control, so if you're tied, it doesn't do a maneuver. And here's some more. And of course, the Summa Verminoth does some nasty stuff too. At the start of the squadron phase, it can do Tentacle Lash, Voltaic Discharge, or Devour. The player who does not have control chooses one of the following effects. And I believe there was a rules reference entry or something that basically, if nobody had control, then you guys would each do one. And so like 2 things could happen. And that's basically in case there was a tie. And then that means there's even more havoc is going to get unleashed. Tentacle Lash is like roll 3 blue dice. Each ship that has a Summa Verminoth at close range, and each squadron at distance 1 of the Summa Verminoth suffers a damage for each hit result. Voltaic Discharge is choose a ship at close range, and they must discard all of their discard 1 of its defense tokens. If it cannot, it's dealt to face-up damage card. And then there's Devour. This one is the nasty one. It's just to basically eat a squadron. Choose a squadron at close range. The chosen squadron must discard a defense token. If it cannot, roll a number of black dice equal to the remaining hull value. It's important to say remaining hull value. Right? So if you've got only 1 hull left, it's going to do less, which is a little weird because it does less to a low. But then again, a black die has a pretty good chance of getting the damage. So yeah, and so that's basically all of the rules cards, and you're getting a whole bunch of these. You're getting a whole bunch of these. You're getting some of these in German as well. So how many of these do we get? We got 3 as one set. 1, 2, 3. That's another set. 1, 2, 3. That's a 3rd set. 4th set. 5th set. 6th set. 7th set. And 8th set, and then we start with the German stuff. So you get 8 full sets of this. So everybody who gets to take this home gets a full 3-card set of all of the rules and reminders, which is really cool. And so again, we've got 8 of these, which I really like. Also, we got our Intensify Firepower cards. So this is pretty nice as well. This is something that was voted on a while back. It's the alternate art, and I like that they put the artist name here, Marius Ganzel. So very cool. And of course, in the back, it's the fleet command as well. So we've got some of those, and then we've also got some German language versions of those as well. Maybe we'll be doing some giveaways in live streams with this cool stuff. All right, everybody, that is going to about wrap it up for the Summa of All Things unboxing. Be sure to check out, I'll put some videos over here where you can check out the latest tournament report we did where we ran the Summa of All Things event, and you can see how I did when actually running it. I will talk to you guys later. I want to thank you all so much for watching. Big thanks to my patrons. You guys are amazing and help make this channel possible. Thank you for your continued support. I will talk to you later.